Welcome back, everybody. We are in top 4 of the Game Cafe Mid-Season Showdown. Today, in our second match of top 4, we have Ethan PacoTaco against John n10siT. These two are actually pretty good friends. So, I don't know. The Kansas City area, as somebody who used to compete in that area, a lot of us are pretty good friends, and I know that Drew is also friends with a lot of people in this area as well. If Drew is alive and well. Anyway, we're coming into that. So, all of this to say that some of your local area, you get to know some of the competitors, and you make friends along the way. So it's kind of a really fun time, and it's bittersweet to have to fight some of your friends in these top cuts, but you also have a little bit of an advantage just knowing, alright, and I've mentioned this repeatedly, and I can't repeat it enough, you get to know how some of these people play, and it ends up being an even deeper mind game. Drew's still cutting in and out, so we will continue.
Oh, no, I'm here. I'm just letting, letting you rant. Okay, so we saw that this was we had this matchup on stream for round 3, and we saw Ethan Suicune do a whole lot of work in that set. Just the pressure of Scald onto Camerupt and Stakataka, plus the option of roaring out Reuniclus when it tries to set up a Trick Room, was just really big, and that was just a wall that John was not able to fight through.
Mm-hmm.
So we see Ethan going with his Game 3 lead, which is Incineroar and Tapu Koko. So like we said earlier, Electric Terrain could come back to bite Ethan if he brings the Camerupt for the Suicune, but not going to be not really a big deal right now, seeing that the Tapu Fini and Scrafty are led from John.
So one thing that we had noticed the first time that they played during Swiss is that Tapu Koko, on paper, doesn't initially look like it helps out too much, but this Tapu Koko is Electrium Z, so it has a high damage output. And then seeing the Intimidates come out on both sides, that's basically going to affect how much fake out damage is coming out in turn 1. But Tapu Fini and Tapu Koko are, at this point, kind of the stars of turn 1.
Yeah, we see Tapu Fini switching out for Camerupt, so wanting to get that on the field right away, put that pressure down. Incineroar fakes out Camerupt, so pretty useless there.
Fake outs.
Oh, a critical hit fake out, so a lot more damage turn 1. Might come into play later. We saw that Tapu Fini is choice specs, so maybe that affects some choice specs roll. Not sure at all with that one.
And so now at this point, honestly, bringing out Camerupt here and faking out Tapu Koko, I mean, that's not a terrible decision. Camerupt isn't going to take too much damage from Incineroar. Knockoff isn't going to be able to knock off a Megastone. And then Ethan, knowing that is eject button Scrafty, basically making sure that, okay, no, I'm not going to let you get a free switch here. Yeah.
Also, that Stakataka coming in right now, wanting to take that Dazzling Gleam. This was a play I wanted to talk about. I wanted to know if John kept his... Because eject button, of course, cancels out Volt Switch damage.
Right.
And that would have let you get the free KO on the Tapu Koko with Camerupt, but just opts to not do that. We get Suicune out on the field in a prime position. Got 2 targets that you want to be hitting with Scald. Probably in range to KO both of them right now with Scald. We see that Moonblast coming out from Camerupt instead of that Earth Power, so maybe fishing for Salamence switch in there, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
We saw that Ethan's Salamence was not as bulky as Leonard's, and that the Moonblast does KO. So,
and unfortunately for John here, Stakataka has taken a huge amount of damage. And so we've seen all of John's 4 Pokemon here, and so we know that there isn't another Trick Room setter in the back for him. It's just Stakataka. But knocking off that Chople Berry, now Stakataka is not going to be able to survive low kicks too well. And then with Suicune out here, basically you've got 2 Pokemon out and about. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we see the allies there. Here's the thing, this is still risky because Suicune can Scald, and yeah, goes after the gets Stakataka instead. So just picking up a free KO and chip damage onto Scrafty, which eject buttons back out, probably for Tapu Fini here.
So that's a really good call on Leonard's part, or on Ethan's part. Sorry, we were just commentating Leonard. But Ethan basically...
Really risk-free play from Ethan there. Like, if you Scald and you get Camerupt, then perfect. If you Scald and he Alex switches, you get the Stakataka like it just happened.
Right.
So,
I mean, just covering both sides to make sure that, hey, look, I'm going to hit both sides with something that's super effective against Stakataka. You play your game.
Yeah. And here's the thing, like, and we were talking about it earlier, Suicune in this matchup has just had the ability to sit on the field as long as it wants. There's nothing pressuring this Suicune from John's.
Right, and I think that John is definitely worried about Incineroar and Salamence, and so he can't even really bring Bulu here to try and deal with the Suicune, so it makes Suicune just even more threatening.
Yeah, I think
we don't have Trick Room.
Yeah, like this is a very bad spot for John. We've seen him pilot. He got himself out of a bad spot in Game 2 against Leonard, but he had Camerupt for that. Camerupt is in the back right now, so it can still happen. Suicune going to switch out for Amoonguss actually, so even more anti-Bulu still. But we see that knockoff getting rid of those choice specs, so this Muddy Water not going to be doing as much to Incineroar here, which I believe we saw was Assault Vest.
I believe so. I think most of the Incineroars that we've seen today have been Assault Vest.
Yeah, we see this knockoff coming from Scrafty into Amoonguss, getting rid of Pinchberry. This is nice.
Actually, that did a decent chunk of damage.
Yeah, so this is a more offensive. From some of the damage output we've seen, this is definitely a little bit more. Based on how much knockoffs have been doing, even at -2 and whatnot. So, still potential to pull this back. Like, Tapu Fini, the Muddy Water can KO Incineroar. Yeah, Scrafty doing a lot of damage to Amoonguss. However, Tapu, Koko, and Suicune in the back are still just prepared to run over this game if called upon. And Suicune comes out. Amoonguss is just going to get more health back with Regenerator. So, going to be harder to KO later on.
And a Flare Blitz coming out here from Incineroar. That Scrafty is not going to really enjoy that. Thankfully, the Misty Terrain is going to prevent any burns. But Ice Beam coming out here. Yeah. So
that
a
was
great
also
switch from Ethan.
Yeah. Great switch in there. And John actually reads into that. Just gets that double up. So good play there. Covering for Suicune, pivot back in. Would have KO'd Amoonguss anyway. But this Incineroar is really doing nothing. It's at -3 attack. So, it's like, once again, John is just like, with his ways, he's taking advantage of one useless slot and just punishing the other. And it's just like, he's opened himself up a hole to try and get back in this game. But he's still got a long ways to go.
Right. And then knowing that we've got Regenerator Amoonguss, Ethan can kind of bide for time to find a solution to break this. But I mean, John is definitely doing a great job of trying to claw his way back in here. And we do see Amoonguss come back out, so we're kind of seeing this wombo combo of revolving doors of Suicune Amoonguss, and that Flare Blitz coming after Scrafty. Now without any Misty Terrain, there is a chance that can
wrong
burn.
slot.
Oh, John trying to make the right read. Not quite getting it this time. A critical hit on Amoonguss doing negligible damage.
Yeah, a play like John has the opportunity to start getting this back in his favor, but he's going to have to start at some point. He's going to have to get this. Well, he can't do it now. I think he needed to do it a few turns ago. Was get Camerupt on the field when you know Amoonguss coming. That crit is very bad.
Devastating.
And that really all but seals up this game because Scrafty's damage output was very important there with knockoff and low kick for Suicune. Ice Beam could get a freeze onto Amoonguss. Nope.
But now, because there's no Misty Terrain, Now
Tapu
Spore
Fini
is just
goes-
going to put this
yeah.
Tapu Fini to sleep, and that's going to reduce John's chances of being able to pull this down even greater.
Yeah, and if you're Ethan, you send in Suicune. You're clicking Suicune right as soon as you can, because you know Camerupt is in the back.
Right.
And
so
of
at
course,
this point,
knowing Tapu Fini's asleep, this gives you a free switch into Tapu.
Yeah. And, I mean, at this point, Tapu Fini is guaranteed asleep this turn. So you can target the Camerupt, knowing that there's nothing coming from Tapu Fini. Camerupt has to burn a Protect, and if he doesn't respect that, then Camerupt just gets knocked out immediately. Tapu Koko is going to be able to come back out here, and so again, this is a smart play from Ethan, keeping Tapu Koko off the field long enough to be able to Spore right into that Tapu Fini. And again, we see this from John, where he's kind of pinned into a wall and makes a decision that if Ethan doesn't kind of respect what's available to John, that John might be able to claw this back, but Ethan really does read the board very well, and just targets right into that camera. Scalding right in.
Yeah, really just a no drawback play there. Just nothing John can really do to punish that whatsoever. We see Tapu Koko just going for the KO in style, going for that Gigavolt Havoc, easily KOing Tapu Fini. Once again, and Ethan continuing his dominance from the Swiss set, taking this game.
So we need to see some sort of an adjustment out of John. We've seen a little bit of this dominance from Ethan since Game 2 when we saw them play in Swiss, where Ethan made a huge adjustment and figured out how to kind of get in John's head. And so now we need to see John make an adjustment. It might need to be a big one. It might need to be a Bulu one.
I agree. This Suicune has just run over you. Okay, it hasn't been picking up huge KOs, but it's affecting John's play so heavily.
Right.
Just nothing is safe on the neither option is safe on the field. Like when you have Fini, Scrafty out against it, you're not doing a whole lot of damage. When you have Camerupt, it's gonna it can scald me. When I have Reuniclus or Stakataka out, I might get roared. Like you gotta deal with it. I know he's bringing Incineroar, Amoonguss. He has a Salamence and Celesteela. Bulu has to come, I feel. Like, this Suicune has just done too much work against you.
And the times that we've seen John have success is when John is able to clear the field of all the Camerupt threats and then bring Camerupt out. And with Suicune available, he just doesn't have that option.
Yeah. I kind of also... honestly, I'm wondering if John might, this isn't a thing that a lot of people go with, but is the double Trick Room setter with Stakataka Reuniclus, just forcing a mind game there. And then if you get Trick Room up, you finally have the opportunity for Camerupt to go to town.
Or
because we saw that in Game 1, is Trick Room went up and Camerupt won. Trick Room has not gone up ever since turn one of Game 1 from Swiss. And
pretty much.
So just John has to he's got to pull out something here to try and get this Trick Room up.
And the thing is that when we saw Reuniclus against Leonard, Reuniclus was at a pretty big disadvantage, but when you look at what Ethan has, Reuniclus might be a pretty good Trick Room option.
Yeah, we saw it Game 1 and 2 against... in the Swiss set. It did a lot of work in Game 1, and it got KO'd turn 2 of Game 2, and we haven't seen it since. But we do see the Reuniclus switch back, so going to be able to put a lot of pressure down on this topic, the Psychium Z if it opts for that. More than likely here, wouldn't be surprised if we just see a trade of fake outs. Reuniclus can easily take the Gigavolt Havoc from Tapu Koko. If it's got literally any special defense investment, it can take that.
Right. So and because we know that this is Psychium Z, that knockoff is going to be super effective and boosted by the same type attack bonus on Incineroar, but it's not going to be doing the full damage because it won't be able to knock off the
we saw it. We saw it KO at -1 from about half health. So we just see the trade of fake outs here as was expected. So
Yeah,
Reuniclus
so
and Tapu
nothing's
Koko
changed on
not
the board.
doing anything. Yeah, nothing has changed except a little bit of chip damage. Of course, the Z move, Z move into knockoff will easily KO it. But of course, then you're leaving Scrafty alone. If you have Bulu, I feel like you have to go Tapu Bulu right now.
Yeah.
If you have it, or Camerupt can even be a great switch in for Reuniclus. Like making sure that Gigable Havoc does actually nothing. But we see Scrafty is the one who switches out for Tapu Fini.
So what this might be doing is he's trying to reduce the amount of damage that the Electrium Z is going to do by eliminating that electric terrain, trying maybe his mental damage calcs are saying, okay, it's going to be close, it's going to be slim, but if I can get some low rolls here, I should be able to survive this Electrium Z and the knockoff. We'll see. We'll have to see if John's right.
I don't think he will. It's Gigavolt Havoc roll. The Gigavolt Havoc, all it has to do is half to Reuniclus for knockoff to KO.
Oh no, that is so much damage.
Easily enough damage for knockoff to KO.
That is unfortunate. Reuniclus not able to hang on there.
And yeah, John is really on the back foot now.
Yeah.
And
so
it makes it even.
He's got that camera up, but we still need to watch out for that Suicune.
Yeah, there's no way of dealing with the Suicune. We talked about it. He is. It's almost like I don't care. Like I don't care about Suicune. Like he's just ignoring it with his team choices, and it's not on the field right now. But and he does okay. And Suicune's gonna hit the field right after this Volt Switch from Tapu Koko.
John is a close friend of both Drew and I, as is Ethan. So we're both happy and, again, bittersweet to see a friend win and a friend lose. But, I mean, like, yeah, we can see that this new Intimidate on Incineroar is just making Incineroar a little bit tougher to deal with. It doesn't seem like it was immediately affecting the game, just because it was only intimidating Scrafty. But because of the increased utility, some teams that weren't necessarily built to deal with Incineroar...
That Earth Power did a lot.
Yeah, that Earth Power did
that Earth Power did a lot.
So that was a good call.
Yeah, but losing your choice specs for that damage was not, I think. Because you can Moonblast it now, and you don't, and you just proc a berry. So we see Tapu Koko come in, just knowing that the Scrafty might be coming in for John, just wants this board position. Plus, if Camerupt protects and you Moonblast and you Scald into a Protect, you just have the damage right there to Gigavolt Havoc to Tapu Fini. So just getting this pin down, and there's really just not a lot that Sean can do, bar some Muddy Water accuracy drops right now. Yeah,
I mean, you could get Muddy Water accuracy drops. He gets one on Tapu Koko, but Volt Switch and Thunderbolt have 100% accuracy, so they're still very likely to hit.
Yeah, plus he can just Gigavolt Havoc. He already used the Z move.
Yeah, he burned that. So that's okay. But we see the Camerupt's going to go ahead and switch out. We're going to see Scrafty. His Intimidate is wasted on these two, but it gives him Fake Out pressure. This is going to be an uphill battle. So Volt Switch is going to go ahead and come out, and it goes straight into Tapu Fini. The accuracy drop, unfortunately, didn't save John's Tapu Fini there. But now we're going to see Camerupt come out, which, as much damage as that Earth Power did, you know what? That's not actually a bad position for John.
Yeah, but Ethan sees right through that and just shuts it down with Incineroar.
Yeah.
Just the play there for John, but you would have to hope that you would get is you get a Fake Out on the Suicune plus the Nature Power,
right,
to KO. But Incineroar, of course, we've seen is the faster Fake Out. So we can just fake out Scrafty.
Fake out Scrafty and go for that Scald.
Yeah. I think Camerupt's going to need a double Protect, and we're going to need a low kick crit. Low kick crit on the Suicune. Or knockoff, just straight up KO.
A crit on knockoff. He should be able to take that out.
But regardless of that, he needs the double Protect from Scrafty. He needs the double Protect on Camerupt for this to even be a conversation. Because he needs it for the Tapu Koko and the Incineroar.
Yeah, the safest play for Ethan here appears to be faking out that Scrafty, preventing any fake outs from coming, and that's always a capability here. John making the absolute smart play of protecting that Camerupt, and there we see that fake out. So we're gonna see Suicune, not able to do anything because of the protect, but man,
still
John
just ready. Yeah, still just ready right now for another Scald. Camerupt's gonna need the double for Scrafty to KO with knockoff. It does get the double. He does get the double.
Oh, this might change
Scald
things a little bit.
Camerupt. Here's the thing: Flare Blitz can burn. So it's gonna, if he gets a Flare Blitz burn, then it's not gonna be able to KO.
No burn.
Doesn't get the burn and the knockoff. Is enough to KO Suicune.
Okay.
And Amoonguss can't even come in right now and put Camerupt to sleep because of the electric terrain.
That double protect changed so much. Because
Camerupt is looking
can't
like
do anything.
Yeah, Camerupt is like, we know Koko is also here. Camerupt is in a really good spot right now.
Oh man.
And we see Koko come back in. Probably just gonna have to be content with firing off a Dazzling Gleam here.
Right, getting a little bit of chip damage on Camerupt. But man, I'm trying to think. Like, it seems like Camerupt's got Earth Power. He's got Heat Wave. Scrafty doesn't even have to do anything here. But man, that changed so much.
Yeah, that double protect just thrusting John right back into this game. Tapu Koko is going to protect itself this turn, so Scrafty might... Oh, Scrafty actually reveals protect. We hadn't seen that literally at all in his sets. And we see that Flare Blitz into Scrafty's attack, Earth Power into Incineroar, so calling the Tapu Koko, so just punishing the Tapu Koko protect, and Incineroar goes down now.
Oh man, that was
forcing out
play.
Ethan's last Pokemon. Oh, but the terrain runs up.
Okay.
So no more protection from Spore for that Camerupt if it is Amoonguss, which it is.
Right. So. Oh man. All right. So
this comes down to sleep. It comes down to sleep turns now.
Right.
But here's the thing: Amoonguss's move is Clear Smog. So Camerupt is going to be taking these hits for a while. It's going to take a lot to break through this Camel. So.
Right. And Clear Smog and Dazzling Gleam are both resisted by Camerupt. And because Camerupt is slower, he's going to take his first turn of sleep this turn. So that puts things a little bit more beneficially on John's side of things. But because Camerupt is holding a Mega Stone, it doesn't have access to like leftovers or a Pinch Berry. So every bit of damage that he's going to be taking here from Dazzling Gleam, which is now single target, from Clear Smog, which is going to be doing very little but non-zero amount of damage. I mean, it's all permanent.
Yeah. Like, this might come down to... Well, it's going to come down to sleep turns, of course. Oh, we see it wake up turn one. Heat Wave, double connects, won't KO Amoonguss because it's an Amoonguss.
Right.
But
and that
Amoonguss can't do anything to Camerupt. And John's going to take this game because of that double protect.
Oh, man. That is... so incredible.
And it
and double protect is a fairly low chance. It's obviously it's possible, but it isn't 100%. Every time you use protect in a row, it actually reduces the effectiveness or your ability to protect. And so going for that Spore again, but again, so we said that because Amoonguss is faster, it's able to Spore the Camerupt, but because Camerupt is slower, Amoonguss isn't able to perpetually keep it asleep.
Yeah, this is going to come... Like, the only way Amoonguss can win this is Ethan has... Never mind.
Turn one, wake up again. Wow.
Yeah, I was going to say, the only way that Ethan could theoretically win this is you protect every time Camerupt wakes. Like, you have to just start calling random wake-ups and putting it right back to sleep the next turn. But even if you're Ethan, you have to be so, like, kind of infuriated with that, or just like kind of disappointed, because literally you're double protect is the 1/3 chance, so you have a 2/3 chance of winning that game, which you were controlling the entire time. Like, there was not a moment where he was not in the driver's seat of that game. But like John had with Leonard in their set earlier, one turn, momentum switches, and Camerupt goes off.
So that just kind of shows the power of the team that John has built. And we've been discussing this basically throughout the day when we've seen John play. As long as he can keep Camerupt protected, as long as he can keep Camerupt in a good position, as long as he can eliminate the threats to Camerupt, John can win.
Yeah. And just like seeing that, it just makes me want Bulu to come out more, because what beats Camerupt once the Suicune goes down? Like, Salamence is there, which is fine. Like, Salamence can be dealt with through other means.
Right.
But, like, if you're John, you have to know to yourself now, okay, you saw how much work Camerupt did in that late game once Suicune was gone. Priority number one needs to be getting it off the field.
And the Pokemon that Ethan has been bringing, Salamence has not been coming to these.
Yeah, the two Pokemon
Celesteela hasn't been coming to these.
Yeah.
It's just been Incineroar.
Yeah, it's just been Incineroar. And even then, -1 Woodhammer in terrain is gonna hurt. Especially on Suicune. So it's gonna be interesting to see if John opts Blue, or he just hopes, okay, I just or he just hope, well, not for another double protect. He just hopes, okay, I'm just gonna have to play much, much better to eliminate the Suicune early on. Same leads from Ethan, just going with what works. And we see Stakataka this time.
And so what we've seen is that the Stakataka is holding the Chople Berry, so that makes low kicks less effective. But, I mean, Fake Out and the Electrium Z, basically the turn ones have been just these trading of Fake Outs, nothing changing as far as the board positioning. But again, what we've wanted to see from John is his adjustment in trying to set Trick Room. And what Ethan has been doing very effectively is preventing Trick Room from getting up from turn one. I mean, everything that Ethan has done has shut down Trick Room hard.
I'm like, knowing this might just be a Fake Out Gigavolt Havoc in the Fake Out Scrafty Gigavolt Havoc in the Stakataka. You can KO from prior sets. However, this Camerupt threat can just switch right in, and Salamence finally hits. So Ethan probably expecting Bulu might make an appearance here.
Yeah,
or just wants more pressure down on Scrafty.
Scrafty and Stakataka, both physical attackers and both at -2. Stakataka taking the Fake Out, and Scrafty going for the Fake Out in that Tapu Koko slot. So John having no fear for that Stakataka, and I mean, a gutsy call.
This is a really good spot now for John, though, because that Chople Berry plus the Intimidate on Incineroar means that it's going to be really difficult for this Stakataka to get KO'd right now. Unless, of course, the Salamence carries something like an Earthquake, which you Earthquake your own Incineroar, which honestly might happen. And it does.
Oh, it has it! He did it!
So Earthquake is going to do a whole lot of damage to Stakataka. Oh, this is going to be... This should still KO because the 4x super effective hit.
Yeah.
But it might be close.
So Scrafty's not doing anything this turn. Ethan just abusing that eject button in the last several games that we've seen. Where the first game that we saw Ethan and John play, he faked out into the Scrafty and saw the eject button, and then Ethan from then on out has been like, no, you get to switch when I say you're ready to switch. And so here we go, the low kick
we see
is
the we see the Reuniclus adjustment though.
Yeah.
So
double Trick Room. We've mentioned that we wanted to see double Trick Room come out of John. I'm not sure that's what we were thinking, but John's definitely into this Reuniclus here.
Yeah, so John going all in on the Trick Room setup this game.
Absolutely, especially
because if there's no Tapu Fini, there's no Tapu Fini, then Electric Terrain is the dominant terrain, and that's not good for the Suicune in the back.
Right. So if Ethan brought Salamence instead of Suicune, then it'll be a little bit disappointing, but if he still has Suicune in the back, then that having Electric Terrain is just going to be so helpful for John. But still, John has to be able to get this Trick Room up. He's got the Fake Out available, so we'll just have to see what he decides to do with both of these Pokemon. Oh, this is actually just the way that this has played out. Again, we've seen minor just tweaks by both players, and they've been phenomenal minor tweaks.
All right, we got Tapu Koko coming back in here. Fake Out onto that slot. Frustration is going to KO Scrafty. It should, and it does.
But this gives a pretty open opportunity for Camerupt to come out here
for that Trick Room. So Camerupt gets a free switch in. We've seen how much Reuniclus does with Shattered Psyche onto the Salamence, but it's gonna be close. Camerupt is in the spot it wants to be in. Right. But you also have the mind game now of just Salamence switch out for Incineroar. Does John call that an Earth Power? There's so many things that can turn.
There's so many things that could go wrong. So just on both sides. Because like right now, if you're just looking at like the Pokemon count, it seems like Ethan has a huge insurmountable advantage because it's 4-2. But when you look at Camerupt and the amount of damage output that Camerupt threatens, it looks like there's no switches. Camerupt is just going to freely Mega. We still haven't seen any protects on hand yet. I mean, that could change the outcome here. Tapu Koko going for the protect. Is Salamence going to follow suit? Earth Power going into the protect on Tapu Koko. And Psychic.
We see a Psychic. So not waiting to burn that Z Crystal just yet. That's a lot of damage, though.
Yeah. And
we see Earthquake coming out. All right, so this is going to do good damage to each. Defense.
But
this was -1 Earthquake, so does under half to Camerupt. So we're gonna be able to take maybe 2 more. I don't know. This comes down to the roll there, but kind of a dead turn. But that's fine if you're Ethan. You're burning Trick Room turns, which is kind of what you need. You need this Camerupt out of Trick Room, and you need Suicune on the field as soon as possible.
And one thing that I do like that Ethan has done here, he brought that Tapu Koko out while Electric Terrain was still up.
Yeah, so this is the last turn of it too.
Ethan recognizes, okay, Nature Power becoming Thunderbolt is one of the biggest threats that I have if I've got Suicune in the back. So I need... this could be dangerous.
He goes right into Incineroar. Targeted with Earth Power the last turn.
So what I was trying to get at there is that if he had Tapu Koko out and he loses Tapu Koko, then Electric Terrain is gone, and then if Suicune is in the back, then it would still be safe. So this Earth Power
he
goes into the protect. He predicted the switch in the wrong slot, and then the Z move, Z Psychic, is that going into Incineroar? Oh my god, this is such a mind game.
And Ethan making the call gets that into Incineroar. Oh my. John going all in on getting the got it in the wrong.
He wanted it.
And if John calls that, the game is over because you got terrain. You get terrain reset, and then Camerupt goes to town. We see Nature Power, so good play there. Tri Attack should because of the special defense drop from that Psychic. Oh my goodness. And guess what? If he brings out Suicune, Ally Switch. Yep. Ally Switch mind games are coming.
Oh no.
We saw that Ally Switch. We saw it in Game 1 just to mess with you. And now that information is just, the seed is sprouted into a full-fledged mind game.
Okay, so Incineroar does not have any reduced attack from Intimidate.
There it is.
The Ally Switch is coming
Reuniclus.
out. Alright, so what we've seen every time out of Ethan is this knockoff.
So
we've got an Earth Power into Suicune.
He doesn't go after Incineroar.
And then knockoff into Camerupt does a good amount of damage, and Scald into Reuniclus. The Ally Switch.
However, Trick Room is up. I really would have preferred to see that Earth Power because you need it off the field, and knockoff's just going to KO Ryu. So it prevents the Trick Room from getting reset up. John makes the play, but just gets the target wrong with Earth Power, understanding that he wants to get damage down on Suicune. But leaving the Incineroar alone is just going to prevent the Trick Room from going back up. Scald KOs Camerupt. And knockoff coming out on to Reuniclus will pick up the knockout very easily. And Ethan Simpson fighting through the double protect in Game 2 and advances into the finals.
Ooh.
That was a very close game 3, even though completely different.
Oh man, that was whew.
That game, that third game, literally just comes down to, does he get the Earth Power call right on the turn that we had talked about the possibility of Salamence going in for Incineroar. But John saw it too, and he's just like, it's gonna happen because that's what Leonard was doing earlier against him.
Right.
So, taking his information from that set, thinking that okay, from the games I've played, Salamence is an Earth Power switch in, and vice versa, and Incineroar switching in for that. So just trying to get that call, gets it wrong, gets that free switch in. And just all the momentum was lost from that turn because you have Fake Out burning more Trick Room turns. And as we saw, when Trick Room is not up, this is very difficult for John, to try and pull it back.
Right. All right. So we are going to go on a break. Next up is Finals. And so we will return in a few moments with Finals from the Game Cafe Mid-Season Showdown.